first appeared as he rode down the escalator. No one could have been prepared for what came after, as he cut down those against him, with poisoned bullets from his pistol tongue, rapid fire against all sensibility that just expired, and those with a spine cowered in a corner. They gave him all he wanted, even their souls, and he saw the chance to take total power. It gave them the chance to hold on a little longer. When the gunslinger rode into town, some people thought he'd be the saviour when he chased the mayor and the sheriff to the hills. But he now holds them to ransom with his gang of thieves and hired killers. No one is safe. No one knows if he'll shoot them down. They wish they could have it like it used to be, the good old days of the old black mayor and his right-hand man, the sheriff, old Joe. The gamblers smiled as they put the chips down and said, "I'm all in. Hit me one last time." As the dealer turned over the cards, they both knew the game was rigged. He was never going to win, with no fair game in town. With this new mob in charge, always dealing the dirt, maybe now was the time all the luck would change. He's paid his dues, and the get-rich schemes failed, and what's coming down the line will blow his mind. "Stop looking out of the window, Jose. You're making me nervous," she exclaimed. "I want to see them coming. I'm ready to be taken away." Sure enough, they did, and put them in jail, and the children were put in cages. They'd probably never see them again alive. Like so many others, kept in chains, news people stopped coming after a couple of days when another distraction drew their attention away. But under the cover of media shadow, things only keep getting worse, but seem glossy at the top. Despicable things are being done, dismantling of every institution that needs to run, to keep things going for more than a few. His supporters are ready to put down the hecklers as they amass more weapons to keep them in check, and the law just stands by on the side when they point their guns at me and you. A few in opposition tried to take the gunslinger down by saying he was out of order for fixing elections, but the people didn't seem to take any notice. Maybe they don't care that their democracy failed and just accept there's nothing they can do. All they see are different faces, but nothing's changed. Apathetic as long as they're all right, Jack. They appreciate that he cuts them some slack, but when he's stabbing them in the back. It's blatant, the lies he tells on the TV. It's plain for all to see, a blind man told me, saying he's the greatest leader there's ever been. No one can believe their eyes. No one has heard so many lies, with not a care for the Constitution or people's rights. He knows his supporters will rally round and double down, repeating it all every night, with the big guns to hand if anyone wants a fight. The gunslinger's time is coming nigh. Now the people are not going to be all right. They're facing bigger danger than the gunslinger. He was told it was on its way, the warnings ignored, and he doesn't bat an eye at how many die. He says with confidence he expects 100,000. Without a care, he tells the scared, get out to work. The economy means more to me than you ever would. Your life will be sacrificed now and forevermore. Over 500,000 dead because a gunslinger president had a viral epidemic, and he didn't understand why the good weather didn't give him the upper hand. How many are you prepared to let die because he never cared enough to try to protect as many as he can? How many will die? He couldn't kill many more with the bomb if he tried. Only understands the basics. He can't do the complicated. The plight of the USA with Fool in charge is now fated. And people are marching on the street every day, protesting for social justice, for racial justice. Yeah, that fight still goes on to this day. People want to be given their rights, and they know it's not an easy fight. When you've been fighting for 400 years, too much pain, too much fear, too many tears. And rather than listen and change the laws, all they do is turn the guns on the people. It's only when we realise that they played everyone. How they let the protests happen for a bit of fun. In the psychopathic brain, they like using the gun. It diverted attention from the bigger crime, happening before their eyes, and to take no action, to save so many thousands of lives. As the numbers got higher every day, the pandemic raged, but they still let it slide, denying it was worse than expected to moody as slaves. How many more will die? How many more? How many more will die? How many more? Do you care? How many more? How much longer will you let him shoot off his tweets? How much more pain can you take? How will you cope if your family suffer? How many more times will you let him lie, knowing the realities now, and maybe your family will die? He never helped the poor. Are you prepared to die? He fiddled while his country burned. Just more lies. He sent the fascist militias to quell the protests, and the gunslinger ignores the people's cries that they can't breathe and are suffocated by those who are supposed to serve and protect. He'd rather the militias hung them on the noose, and secret police grab people from the street. They've got you all on film, stealing and burning. They cause the riots when the people only want peace. And more people say how unhappy they are. The people want change, no more of the same. For sure, when they get the chance, they'll cook his goose. And he looks down on them from the golden tower, tweeting bullshit at 3 AM from the golden throne, to be picked up by early morning shows and run all day as news by media fools, where ratings matter more than the truth, while the dirty deals are done, hidden out of view. They knew the time was coming when it all would come crashing down, before they had the chance to hand him the crown, as the old sheriff reappeared in this town, and they would go head to head, toe to toe. The gunslinger was spitting bullets more than before, but this time they did not affect old Joe. He knew it was time to take this golden clown down. It wasn't going to be easy, but he had to go. Of course, the gunslinger would never accept that he'd been beaten by a better man, and his toadies crawled out of the woodwork to keep in his good favour, spreading more lies, that he had won when we all could see, a true loser trying to steal it all back, winding up his people, driving them into a frenzy, to satisfy his delusion that he wasn't crazy, asking them to declare war on democracy. And they did, attacking the capital after the cowards in charge sent them into a frenzy, and laughed and danced at the crazy scenes, killing police and trying to kill the right-hand man. Traitors one and all, but they never had a plan. Of course, like always, in all his grifting schemes, they were doomed to fail, but he escaped, to let the crazies take the fall and go to jail. His sycophants won't pin the insurrection to his tail. Now there's a lesson to be learned for the fools that believe the gunslinger's false promises of gold, now that reality and truth have come home. They're being rounded up one by one, like strays who've evaded the lasso of the law. They never thought they'd be left to take the fall, and once they have them under lock and key, it's time for the big brass to meet their reckoning. But to avoid doing a hard time, they'll surely sing. The gunslinger's land of plenty burns while others drown, as it falls from grace in the eyes of the world, because of the I'm all right Republican clowns. The gunslinger wants them to kowtow even now, remaining in denial that they're in a minority. They let the crazy take over their sanity, and the good people suffer, trying to recover from years of fake and deluded people at the top. It's going to take many years to get over that lot. The ring around the gunslinger gets smaller by the day. Investigations have all the arrows pointing his way, though some even think he will rise again. His delusions repeated by those with still a bit to make. No one thinks that they are not on the take. All they say and do is fake, fake, fake. Flipping and flopping all over the place. Turncoats and traitors always trying to save face. So many lies espoused, it's a disgrace. Old Man Joe doesn't have much time to do what he can and stop infighting on his side. He knows what needs to be done and do it he must, before America is burned to a crust, leaving only dust. But America's influence is lost at a human cost. Bombs aren't the answer we're looking for. We don't need wars to satiate our corporate greed. When the supply chains are going to be blocked, it makes more sense to satisfy the people's need. The falsity of being the greatest country is exposed. We can see no substance, just a big mouth. Everyone now laughs out loud at their refrains. And what happens in the next election cycle again will determine if they do fall apart at the seams, and if the gunslinger can make his return to the fold. To his followers, the lies never get old, because they failed to take him out before now. They won't survive 4 more years of that clown. Meanwhile, the rest of the world moves on, dealing with the immediate realities that threaten all of humanity and not just the few, who have still got too many irons in the carbon fire to want anything that requires a bit of effort. Maybe they should suffer more than Greta's ire. Climate change, pandemics and more that half of Americans mostly want to ignore. Wait until China reclaims the debt at the door. No decline and fall can be described as graceful. Many empires have existed in the world before, as the last idea of superpower fades and dies. We can see the embers burn with our eyes. The lesson is, a democracy that overreaches will fall when they don't look after those at home at all. Undone by apathy for the crazies and corporate thieves, leaving the predators to pick them clean, and the carcasses are left on the crosses of their beliefs.
Goodbye, America.